I'm going to show you an easy way to thread the needle. I'm using a little pink piece of paper and making a boat out of it. I'm going to insert the end of the thread into it and pull it back a little bit so that the tip of the thread is inside of the boat. Then I'm simply going to push the boat into the eye of the needle, hold onto the thread inside while I pull, and then let go. And ta-da! That is an easy way of threading your needle. Now onto the other end, we are going to make a knot. First you make a U shape with your string, then crisscross one end over the other part of the string, and tuck the tail through the loop. And just pull it on through. You can gently wiggle that knot and tighten it with your fingertips. There you go. One knot. If you want to add another knot on top of the first one to make it bigger, all you have to do is the same thing. Make a U, crisscross, pull the loop through the hole, and as you get closer to the first knot, you want to wiggle that loop that you're tightening up. You want to wiggle it so that that second knot is kind of on top of the first knot. And then you pull it tighter. And I'm not sure if you can see, but my knot is now a little bigger than it was before. As you can see, this time it's just a single thread rather than a double thread. So what's important is that you have to hold the short side of the thread tight onto the needle. Let me show that one more time. Do you see how my thumb, my fingers are grasping the needle and the little short end of the thread? So if I pull, it doesn't go anywhere. Okay, so now you're going to take your template or your fabric or whatever you're sewing and begin to do your running stitch. This is the easiest stitch in sewing. It's just a simple pattern that goes in and out, in and out, in and out, all the way across your surface. When it's time to make a knot, you're going to make a U by sticking your needle into the closest stitch that you've already made. There's the U, there's the U. You're going to wrap your thread around and pull your needle through the thread. Pull in one direction, pull the other direction, and now you've got a tight knot in there. And then all you have to do is cut your thread and you are done. Time to do our running stitch on our burlap frame. Your needle should be threaded, your knot should be there, and you're going to have a short end hanging off your thread. You're going to hold on to your needle and the short end of your thread all together so that as you sew, it doesn't fall apart like that. It's just a habit you have to get used to, that when you go to grab the needle, you grab both pieces of thread at the same time. You'll get used to it. Your name should be on the back of your frame. Along with your class code. And then you're going to start sewing. I suggest counting 2 squares, pushing your needle through, and then pulling it up through the next square. So that was 2 squares. Now I'm pulling it up into the next square. So I'm counting 1. And now I'm going to count 2 squares. 1, 2, and then pull up on the next one. And I'm sure you get the pattern by now. Counting 2 more squares. Up 1. And I am going to keep going around the outside of my square. You see, I'm starting to lose my thread. That's because I wasn't holding on tightly enough to it. So you're going to have to get used to that as you work. You're going to have to let go of your needle every now and then, but every time you pick it up, you want to grab the needle and the thread together. Okay, I'm going to speed up as I make my way around the outside of my fabric. Okay, almost at the end. And don't worry if your lines aren't perfectly straight. That will add to the charm and the imperfection of the burlap that you're working on. These are going to be really lovely. As you get to the very, very end, you're getting ready to make your finishing knot. So everything that we practiced before, we're going to do right here. You get to the end, you're going to turn over to the ugly side where the knots are. I shouldn't say ugly, the more imperfect side. And then you are going to thread your needle through one of the closest stitches. Either one is fine. You're going to thread it through only the stitch. You're going to squeeze it right under the thread so you don't do anything to the other side. You're just sneaking right under that piece of thread. You're making that U. There you go. And then you are going to put your thread into the loop. This time I have to stick the thread in from the top. So if it doesn't work, if you stick the thread in through the bottom, try sticking the thread in through the top. You'll get the hang of it. Pulling the knot left and right. There it is. And now I'm just going to cut the extra off. And everything is looking really good.